Hello everyone, and welcome to my YNR 24 spoilers. Adam and Victor work together to defeat Billy. Relationships were put to the test, and alliances were forged on The Young and the Restless episode from August 12th, 2025. The Young and the Restless events. On The Young and the Restless, Sally fears Billy may commit suicide. Image, CBS. Phyllis and Nick met in Chancellor Park. They must cease meeting in this manner, she joked. Nick went to work. He was curious as to why Phyllis had been at society the previous evening with Kane. After deflecting, Phyllis swung at Sharon. It was just a joke, Phyllis said in response to Nick calling attention to her statement. According to Phyllis, she talked to Kane for a while in an attempt to persuade him not to utilize the AI program. Phyllis asserted that rather than utilizing AI, Kane was more concerned with mending his bond with Maddie and Charlie. According to Nick, Kane could do both. Nick pondered whether Kane's affluence embarrassed him. Given that Nick was Victor's son, Phyllis claimed that was hypocritical. Nick questioned Kane's high level of faith in Phyllis. She claimed that by telling him about the time she pretended to be dead, she had exposed herself to him. He trusts me, said Phyllis. According to Nick, he didn't believe that Kane was no longer a danger. Phyllis was warned by Nick not to support someone who is trying to harm them. They're ready for Kane's attacks, he said. Nick warned Phyllis that this could cause her harm. Nick was dubbed a jerk by Phyllis. She claimed she was sick of him criticizing her. Phyllis declared that she would work for anybody she desired. She allegedly played into Kane's hands, according to Nick. Phyllis became upset, but she informed Nick that she felt offended. If Victor got access to the AI software, Phyllis questioned whether Nick would advise him against using it. I will, Nick responded. Phyllis growled. Like he'd listen to you, she said. According to Nick, he prevented his loved ones from suffering harm. If Nick didn't trust her, it was his problem, not hers, Phyllis pleaded. Phyllis then turned to go. Michael paid Victor a visit at his workplace in the meanwhile. His phone rang before they could discuss Michael spying on Kane for Victor. When Kane called, he wanted to know if Michael would join him in his fight against Victor. Michael was told to decide by Victor. Victor interrupted Michael as he was about to sit down, saying that he hadn't asked him to. Still, he took a seat. Whether Michael would work for Victor or Kane was a point of contention between the two men. Michael's bluff was called by Victor. Michael disclosed that he would assist Victor, but he would function as a free agent since Victor refused to follow his counsel. Victor vowed not to back down from his confrontation with Kane. Kane was the aggressor, Michael agreed. Michael pointed out that Victor had walked away from the job, not the Newman family, when he remarked, "You walked away." Victor said, "We'll see," regarding a more cordial future. When Sally got home, she discovered Billy unconscious, still wearing his clothing from the previous evening, lying face down on the couch. Billy remarked, "I was dreaming. You always are," was Sally's response. Billy was asked why he was drinking by Sally. He expressed his hope that she would return. Sally expressed her concern. She wasn't going to let Kane assist Billy wreck his life, and she was wondering how to deal with the press when Abbott Communications' launch party was cancelled. She reminded him of all the times she had supported him. Even the idea of bringing Phyllis to Abbott Communications had been accepted by Sally. Billy stated that they could have both. She could manage the communications company, and he could acquire Chancellor. Billy didn't seem to be paying attention to Sally. Billy started Abbott Communications to help him get over his hurt, she reminded him. Sally pleaded with Billy not to get involved with Kane, even though she knew he wanted to stick it to Victor. Sally said, "We don't need Chancellor," noting that they already had one another. Jack was out at Abbott Communications, Billy informed Sally. Following their most recent altercation, he started withdrawing funds. Billy indicated they will find another source of funding, but he must cooperate with Kane because of this. Billy claimed that he would take advantage of the fact that Kane needed him. In the same way that Billy wants to defeat the mogul, Kane too wanted to defeat Victor Newman Billy said. Billy was informed by Sally that she left Marchetti to work with him on Abbott Communications. This was a little speed bump, according to Billy. Sally wouldn't lose him, he assured her. Sally claimed to feel as though she had already done so. She questioned Billy about why he was risking Kane when he didn't have to. Sally revealed that she made it clear to Kane and Phyllis at Society that she would not tolerate Billy's behavior. It was something Billy wished she hadn't done. Sally thought back to her early years with Billy. He claimed that he wished to spend every second with her. Billy was accused by Sally of prioritizing his obsessions over her. Billy told her he was in control of this. Sally questioned Billy about the dangers of playing Kane's game. Billy said that he wasn't shoving anybody aside. Billy claimed that last night he came up with a plan. Billy claimed he was exempt from using the AI program. He will not follow Kane's strategy. Billy would manage his own plan. It's a win-win situation for us. Victor paid Adam a visit in his workplace. He joked that since he and Adam moved to the ranch, he hasn't seen as much of his grandson, Connor. Connor is busy with school and athletics, according to Adam. Adam continued by saying that his siblings are worried about the AI software and its use. Adam told Victor that they ought to collaborate after Chelsea contacted a social media influencer. Victor went on to say that Billy's new endeavor is foolish. Adam pondered whether Billy's suffering should be ended. He proposed that they take down Billy using Kane's program. Chelsea would agree, according to Adam. Victor remarked, "Well, I'll be damned," in reference to Adam enlisting Chelsea on their side. Billy would go first, Victor added, and then they would concentrate on Jack Abbott. Michael met Kane on his train in the meanwhile. He stated that, of course, he would accept his offer with conditions. According to Michael, nobody could be aware that they were collaborating. Kane was curious as to if Michael was hiding anything from Lauren or Victor. Michael kept everything under wraps. Kane claimed that keeping their union a secret was best for him. He consented to conceal their collaboration. Michael stated that they needed to agree on a salary before he could move on from Victor. Kane proposed to increase his initial offer by twofold. On it, the two men trembled. Kane was asked by Michael what his first task was. Kane wanted his people to get along, so he proposed that he make apologies with Phyllis. Kane said to Michael, "Fix it." He was his fixer. Michael then went back to Victor's office and informed him that Phyllis was a member of Kane's staff. Victor claimed he was unconcerned with Phyllis's intentions. Michael promised to watch over Phyllis. Victor proposed to accomplish two goals at once. In the park, Adam went up to Nick and informed his brother that he was heading to see Connor play soccer. Adam wanted to know whether Phyllis had any information regarding Kane's next move. Nick is certain that Phyllis is a member of the other squad. That's in Phyllis's wheelhouse, Adam noted. If Phyllis arrived after Adam asked Nick if he would be comfortable pursuing her. Phyllis answered a call from Michael at Society. Michael requested a reference, and she believed that his employment had fallen through. "I doubt anybody has a position open for a backstabbing ex-friend," Phyllis growled. Michael wanted to see her. Phyllis was instructed to meet her in the park. She advised Michael to presume she wouldn't be arriving if he arrived, and she wasn't there. A smiling Kane, meantime, appeared to be content with the way his plans were going as he was by himself on his train. On weekdays, watch brand new episodes of The Young and the Restless on Paramount Plus and CBS. A watershed in Genoa City. Victor and Adam's coalition against Billy. The Young and the Restless, August 12th, 2025. Episode was one of those times when Genoa City appeared to be tilting on its axis, with family dynamics being reconfigured in risky new ways, alliances being redrawn, and loyalties being called into doubt. Victor Newman, the patriarch at the center of the developing story, has always prospered on dominance, authority, and the deft manipulation of people. Even Victor, however, believed that the lines of defense against Billy Abbott and Kane Ashby's combined strategies were more personal, riskier, and sharper than before. Victor did not stand alone for once. Adam, his son, who has frequently been both an ally and an adversary, unexpectedly offered to help. And Genoa City was on a path that would lead to nothing less than war when Victor clasped it and promised to crush Billy together. Billy Abbott is a dangerous foe and his own worst enemy due to his erratic combination of ambition, addiction, and obsession. His current company, Abbott Communications, was designed to be both a rebirth and a weapon, a chance to restore power, independence, and even to settle his ongoing score with it. However, fissures were already apparent. After too many arguments, Jack Abbott had stopped providing financial support, leaving Billy vulnerable. Billy's life and business partner, Sally Spectra, was at her breaking point, caught between her love for him and her mounting fear that his careless decisions would bring them both to ruin. Billy was unable to resist the allure of Kane's machinations and the alluring possibility of finally defeating Victor in spite of her cautions. Sally had good reason to be afraid. When the episode began, she discovered Billy unconscious on the couch, still dressed from the previous evening, and he smelled strongly of booze and unfulfilled promises. Their conversation encapsulated the tragic loop they had been in for months. Sally pleaded for stability, loyalty, and a genuine shot of happiness, while Billy promised control, vision, and dedication. When he said he had merely been dreaming, she retorted angrily, "You always are." Billy, who is always ready to defend his actions, maintained that Kane's alliance was a necessary evil that would provide financing and momentum following Jack's treachery. Sally resisted, telling him that Kane was poisonous because of his preoccupation with vengeance and that she had sacrificed Marchetti to support him. Billy, however, was oblivious to her cries because of his desire for approval and retribution. Phyllis, on the other hand, was caught up in her own perilous balancing act between ambition, survival, and allegiance across town. Nick apprehended her at Chancellor Park, where he questioned her intentions and looked into her relationship with Kane. Their conversation was tinged with distrust and history. Never one to back down, Phyllis maintained that her conversations with Kane were aimed at persuading him not to abuse his AI program. But Nick had a suspicion that Phyllis was too near to the flames and too eager to side with men who wanted to hurt them. Phyllis became enraged when he accused her of being manipulated, and the discussion turned into a tirade filled with past grudges. Beneath her resistance, however, was a hint of reality. Phyllis had put herself in Kane's orbit, and whether she realized it or not, she was getting caught up in the greater conflict. Victor Newman was already moving his pieces on the chessboard at the same moment. The extent of the fault line's expansion was made clear to him during his talk with Michael Baldwin. Michael, who had previously been the consigliere of choice, now played both sides, weighing Kane's generous offer against Victor's demands. As perceptive as ever, Victor saw through Michael's deceptions, but he gave the lawyer the impression that he had some leeway. Victor genuinely desired time in order to determine which weapon would best defeat his adversaries, determine the weak points in Kane's camp, and assess Billy's level of depravity. Later that day, it was evident that Victor had located his weapon when Adam walked into his office. Adam Newman has been the family's black sheep for a long time. He is intelligent but resentful and can be both loyal and treacherous at the same time. In addition to being a strategic move, his plan to undermine Billy using Kane's AI program was also symbolic. Adam was identifying himself with Victor in a way that recognized their common blood and ruthlessness by suggesting they beat Billy at his own game. He recognized in Adam not only a son, but a legitimate heir to his throne of power, as evidenced by Victor's reaction, which was half amused and half impressed. Together, they planned not only Billy's demise, but also an attack on Jack Abbott, demonstrating that their goals went far beyond a single conflict. The remainder of Genoa City was a hive of anxiety as this union came into being. Nick's talk with Adam in the park exposed the developing animosity between brothers, and he continued to believe that Phyllis was betraying them. Playing both strategist and provocateur, Adam asked Nick if he could really turn on Phyllis if she chose to support Kane. Ever protective and sentimental, Nick reacted angrily to the idea, but Adam's point was obvious. In a war, emotion meant weakness. Adam's astute remark that is in Phyllis's wheelhouse only made Nick's anxieties worse. In other places, Michael kept up his double life by meeting Kane behind closed doors on the train. A handshake and a double pay cemented their deal, which was the kind of devil's bargain that has long fed Genoa City's underground. Enjoying his newfound authority, Kane gave Michael the mission of patching up his strained relationship with Phyllis, presenting it as an essential step toward bringing their camp together. Michael concurred, but it was obvious that his allegiances were still unclear and that his actual goal was still unknown. A terrifying parallel emerged as the episode came to a close. On one side, Kane was by himself in his train, grinning as though he controlled fate. On the other, Victor and Adam were together, their eyes shining with the assurance of victory. Standing between them was Billy, who was struggling at home with Sally and was certain that his most recent scheme would save them both. What he failed to recognize, possibly never could, was that he was the pawn, not the ruler of the game. Additionally, pawns are always sacrificed first in Victor Newman's universe. The overarching themes: self-destructive behavior, loyalty, and power. This plot's complexity is what makes it so beautiful. It appears to be a typical Young and the Restless conflict involving corporate espionage, retaliation, and business. Beneath that, however, is a much more thorough examination of trust, loyalty, and the human need for approval. Billy's unrelenting quest for revenge against Victor is more about sating his inner demons than it is about tactics. The constant battle of people who love men like Billy, torn between survival and devotion, is reflected in Sally's anguish. The peril of attempting to play both sides is personified by Phyllis, who has a sharp tongue and brittle allegiances. The lawyer's constant gamble, betting on deceit as a means of gaining power, is symbolized by Michael, who is torn between Victor and Kane. Then there are Adam and Victor. They serve as a reminder of how dangerous they can be when they band together, and their collaboration is both exciting and horrifying. Adam has been vying for Victor's approval for years, frequently defying him only to want for his praise again. Adam appears to have found what he has always sought in this alliance: acceptance as a true Newman and an equal. Victor views the partnership as both strategic and sentimental, evidence that his legacy lives on through Adam's merciless genius despite the dangers to his business.